not sure who it was whoever said the mountains are calling, but they definitely left out the part about the 7-hour drive, the freezing hands, or trying to breathe after a hike at 10,000 feet. Still, it's pretty hard to beat fall in Colorado. Hello again, everybody. My name is Tim, and my channel is all about sharing an honest, transparent look into building a fine art photography business from scratch. In today's video, I take you behind the scenes on a recent photo shoot I did in the San Juan Mountains of Colorado. For 5 extremely full days, we drove all around Telluride, Ouray, Silverton, Gunnison, and everywhere in between, all up and down the legendary Last Dollar Road and $1 Million Highway, and we were completely surrounded by some of the most beautiful fall color you'll ever see anywhere. This trip was my first real field test with my new Hasselblad X2D II, which is an exceptional medium format camera with a massive 100 megapixel sensor. It's perfect for fine art prints, and it did not disappoint. Between the Aspen glow, the moose, and a few questionable life choices involving an alarm clock, it turned into one of the most rewarding photography trips I've ever done. So if you're here following along with the journey, or just like looking at pretty pictures, I'm glad you're here. Let's jump right in. We kicked off the first day early, and by early, I mean really early. Our first stop was along Last Dollar Road near Ridgway. I climbed what felt like half a mountain to get this angle, even if it was really only like 100 feet. And I can confirm, photography at this altitude makes you feel every lens you packed. Later that day, we wound our way along the $1 Million Highway. Scenic, steep, and some slightly terrifying switchbacks with no guardrails. And the highlight? It was my first moose sighting. First time I saw it, he vanished before I could even think about getting the right lens out of the bag. After trailing it down the road a bit, he stuck around long enough for a few frames. Now, I'm no wildlife photographer, but I'll take what I can get. Sunset ended up being a bit of a bust today, but the storm clouds added a little drama to a few shots I took at the lovely overlook near Silverton. Notice the quaint little cabin in the valley below. Sunday delivered a bit of everything. Fog at sunrise, a rainbow in the afternoon, and enough mud to make me wish I'd brought a few more pairs of shoes. We started at Trout Lake, with some low clouds drifting across the mountains. The aspens were glowing just enough to make me forget I couldn't feel my toes. As the day went on, we continued along the $1 Million Highway near Ouray and Silverton, making stops when something caught our eye, which was pretty often. Here are a few favorites during our daytime travels. In the late afternoon, a storm blew in and we had a very brief rainbow sighting. We drove around frantically looking for a pullout somewhere, but by the time we found one, it was pretty much gone. Still, the pullout offered a nice view over the valley, and this ended up being one of my favorite shots from the trip. For sunset, we scouted out a lake called Crystal Lake earlier in the day. We hoped the winds would die down a bit so we could get some nice mountain reflections. In the end, the sky wasn't in the mood to be too dramatic, and it was like walking through quicksand to get to our vantage point. But the wind cooperated and the reflections did not disappoint. All in all, not a bad day. By Monday, the third day, I thought I'd seen it all, until sunset. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. We started the last day with the best of intentions. Sunrise at one of Ridgway's most popular overlooks. It seemed like all the other photographers in the area had the same idea. The overlook was absolutely packed when we arrived. Unfortunately, Mother Nature didn't cooperate this time. Oh, the color was there, but not in the right place in the sky. It was there, and we wanted it here. Oh well. Daytime along Last Dollar Road near Ridgway provided some nice mountain views and some decent Aspen Grove shots, and more lakeside reflections. Here are some favorites from our daytime adventures. Oh, and we had another unexpected moose sighting. We rounded a corner along Last Dollar Road, and there he was just jogging down the highway. We followed slowly behind for a good mile before he pooped out and veered off into the trees. Pretty cool moment. In the late afternoon, the clouds were looking promising for sunset, so we settled in early and set up a composition with a grove of golden aspens framing the mountains in the distance. As the evening went on, more and more photographers showed up, and none of us left disappointed. Even before the sun set, we were treated to dramatic, stormy skies and beautiful dappled light hitting the mountains. If that's all we would have gotten, we still would have gone home happy. But the show was only beginning. This was truly one of the most amazing sunsets I've ever seen. Everything was looking great until suddenly, the mountains in the background turned bright pink. It was something I'd never seen before and may never again. Later, I found out that this phenomenon is called Aspen glow. To me, it was just pure magic. The result? Well, just take a look. The Hasselblad X2D II really flexed its muscles here. The detail and colors that this camera captures are truly next level. After 4 straight days of 15-hour-a-day shooting, Tuesday felt like a break, and it was a welcome one. The forecast called for clear skies in the morning, so we got to sleep in and decided to take it easy. We took the gondola from Mountain Village up the mountain and enjoyed what is easily one of the best views in Colorado. Later, we headed back to Last Dollar Road and visited the old barns near the start. A classic, timeless Colorado scene that never gets old. Sometimes it's nice to just slow down a bit. That evening, we framed up the San Juans in the background with some interesting old fencing along Last Dollar Road. The sunset wasn't as dramatic as yesterday, but still pretty spectacular. As night fell, the clouds were moving quickly, so I decided to experiment with an extremely long exposure on a colorful mountain scene. This can lead to some dreamy, smooth clouds, and it resulted in another unexpected favorite from this trip. It reminds me of a watercolor painting. Take a look. By Wednesday, the skies cleared and the winds calmed. Perfect for reflections, not so great for drama. Throughout the trip, we had made it a point to stop at a lake called Cushman Lake just outside Telluride. This spot is well known for lovely reflections of the glorious aspens across the way, but previously it had been too bright or windy to get a good shot. We got lucky today. The light wasn't perfect, but the lake was as smooth as glass. It resulted in one of the most peaceful shots of the trip. With nary a cloud in the sky, we decided to skip out on sunset and wrapped up the shoot with dinner in Mountain Village. Mediocre pasta with a shocking price, but great company. And just like that, the week was over. The trip had it all: wildlife, weather, long drives, and more fall color than any SD card should hold. It's the kind of trip that leaves you sore, tired, and already planning for the next one. This trip reminded me of why I fell in love with photography in the first place. Not just for the pictures, but for the moments that come with them. I'm still learning, still fumbling lenses in the cold, but that's all part of it. If you'd like to follow along as I keep building this fine art photography journey, the good, the bad, and the muddy, hit subscribe. I'm currently transitioning my site from tjmaxwell.com over to maxwellfineart.com, so this Telluride and Colorado gallery isn't visible online yet. I'll go over why I'm doing this in a future video, but in the meantime, if you saw something you liked, feel free to give me a shout. I've also ordered a couple of sample prints from this workshop, so stay tuned to the channel to see how those turned out. Thank you so much for watching today, and we'll see you in the next video.